My mother invited. Be early, we're celebrating. As we entered, my daughter was handed a tag labeling her. Guest with limitations. My brother leaned in. She won't be eating. And his own kids roared with laughter. I held my tongue, just got my phone and wrote. Scrap every plan. At once. Half an hour later, they regretted every single word they had uttered. Can you imagine a moment so sharp, so utterly devoid of warmth, that it slices through decades of family ties? For me, it came wrapped in a small, innocent name tag, declaring my 5-year-old daughter a limited guest at her grandparents' party. That day, I finally saw my family for who they truly were, and what I did next changed everything. My name's Mark, I'm 33, and for as long as I can remember, I've been that guy in the family. The quiet one. The fixer. The person you call when a bill's due or a tire blows out on the highway at 2 a.m. My whole life, I orbited around my younger brother, Nathan, the designated son of the family. The golden child. The one who got everything. I work in IT. Nothing glamorous. I just fix things other people break. But that pattern, that fixing, it never stayed at work. I met Lena at 25, married at 27. Our daughter, Mia, she's 5, and she's obsessed with stickers and pockets. She stuffs every single pocket she has with them. Little ticket stubs, tiny folded notes that say "For Daddy" in shaky letters. I keep every single one in a shoebox. It's my treasure. To anyone on the outside, we look like a normal family. Holidays, pictures, the occasional harmless fight. But my family? They have this unique way of measuring love. It's all about receipts. Who paid? Who showed up? Who owes? And for years, the one owing? That was always me. Nathan, he's got that easy smile, that story for every room. The kind of charm that gets waiters to bring extra fries on the house. In school, he didn't study much, but he knew every teacher's favorite joke. Mom calls him my miracle. Dad calls him a born closer. He started 3 businesses, closed 2. The third one, oh, it's about to pop off. Been about to for 3 years now. Me? I just kept my head down. Paid my own way. And when they'd ask for just this once, I'd do the math, and I'd say yes. Because saying yes always felt cheaper than the fight that would follow the word no. 2 weeks before the party, Mom called. Come early, she chirped, voice all sweet. We'll celebrate. Celebrate what? I asked, a little confused. Family, she said. And Nathan's big pitch next month. You know he's almost there. I hummed a non-committal response. We'll come. Lena looked at me over the sink, her eyes questioning. You sure? It's just dinner, I told her, trying to convince myself more than her. We'll leave early if it gets weird. She just nodded, that specific nod wives give when they've already packed a plan B in their heads. Saturday rolled around, gray and sticky. Mia wore a bright yellow dress with a little bow, asking if there'd be cake. Yes, I told her, because at my parents' house, there was always cake for Nathan and crumbs for the rest of us. We brought a salad and a box of pastries from the fancy bakery, because Mom says our local grocery store stuff tastes like cardboard. I parked on the street, like always. Dad says the driveway is for family cars, which somehow never includes mine. Inside, there were balloons, a banner proclaiming big moves ahead. Nathan's kids tore around with paper airplanes. My mother swept in, her hug never quite reaching her hands. You made it, she said to me, her eyes already scanning the room. Then to Mia, oh, look at you, sunshine. Lena offered the pastries. We brought. Mom waved them away. We'll see if there's room. Then I saw them. By the entry table. Name tags. Mom, Dad, Nathan, Jess, his wife, Uncle Ray, even Coach Tim. Why he was there, I had no idea. But then I saw the one. It stopped me cold. Mia, limited guest. I blinked. What is this? Mom, without looking at me, just said, oh, just a system. We had to plan plates. Don't overthink it. Lena's jaw went tight. Limited? How? Mom finally gave us a smile, like we were being silly. Kids make a mess. They nibble. We did half portions for under 6. It's not personal. Nathan walked past, read it, then leaned into me and whispered, that means no food. Then chuckled, a kind of joke he thinks makes him lovable. His boys heard him and laughed loud, like it was a signal. Mia looked up at me, then at her tag, then back at me, her little brow furrowed, trying to understand what she'd done wrong. My ears went hot. Not loud, explosive anger. Not the kind that makes a scene. Something smaller. Colder. The part of me that usually says, it's fine, just went quiet. Like it finally ran out of batteries. Dad clapped me on the shoulder, oblivious. Don't sulk, he said. Plenty to go around if you behave. Mark, Lena whispered, her voice tight with suppressed fury. I know, I said, the words barely escaping my throat. We walked deeper into the house. Laughter from the kitchen. A whiteboard in the dining room. Numbers and arrows. Investment family first. Mia's tag, stuck crooked on her yellow dress, looked so out of place. She touched it, confused. I took her small hand and squeezed twice. It's our code. You're safe. Then, someone behind me piped up, make sure the limited guests don't touch the shrimp. And everyone laughed. Everyone. Like it wasn't about a 5-year-old with stickers in her pockets. I didn't argue. Not then. I just swallowed the taste of metal and told myself we'd eat after. I told myself I could take one more small thing and walk it to the trash without a sound. That was the last lie I told myself that day. It didn't start with a name tag. It never does. It starts with small math. At 22, I co-signed Nathan's first car. His credit was still young. He promised to refinance in 6 months. He didn't. 12 months in, he missed 2 payments. I covered them because Mom said, the bank doesn't care about excuses. When I asked Nathan for the money, he just shrugged. Bro, relax. It's all circulating. Like money was water, not hard work. At 24, I moved out. My parents never came to see the apartment. We've seen plenty of small places, Dad scoffed. You'll upgrade when you grow up. That same month, Mom sent me a photo of Nathan's new condo view. He's thriving, she wrote. 3 weeks later, I paid his HOA late fee to avoid a strike against the family's reputation. At 26, Lena and I got married at City Hall. We invited everyone. Mom texted on the morning of citing rain. They didn't come. That night, I got 2 messages. From Dad. You should have chosen a Saturday. From Mom. We'll do a bigger celebration when Nathan is back from his retreat. Nathan, meanwhile, posted a story of himself on a boat. I Venmo'd him $200 the next day because he said, we're in a bind. They're holding the deposit. I told myself, being a good brother looks like patience. When Mia was born, Mom put her hand on my shoulder in the hospital and said, now you'll finally understand what it means to sacrifice. She looked past me, right at Nathan. You'll be a great uncle, she told him. He just winked. I always am. The asks just kept coming. In different costumes. Can you float me $1,100 just until Friday? We're $387 short on rent. The bank is playing games. Coach Tim says if we can raise $5,000, the gym will put Nathan on the flyer. Exposure. I need a new laptop, business expense. Can you put it on your card and I'll sell you? I kept a spreadsheet. At first, it wasn't even about the money. It was about not feeling crazy. Dates, amounts, reasons, promised return dates that slid like jelly. The total crossed $8,000, then $12,000, then $17,640. Every time I tried to talk about it, Mom would say, don't nickel and dime your brother. We're family. And Dad would chime in, real men don't keep score. Nathan? He'd just say, it's all going to make sense when the product hits. The product changed names 3 times. First, a fitness app. Then, a meal prep service. Then, a hybrid community experience, which I think meant a gym with smoothies. He'd make these decks, pastel slides, buzzwords galore. He'd send me edits at midnight. Can you clean this up? I'd fix the grammar, the numbers, the parts where he promised things that didn't exist. He'd present, get a few claps, a few let's revisits, then call me, excited. We're so close. Meanwhile, our life was small and steady. I fixed laptops. Lena taught art at the community center. We budgeted on Sundays with coffee and a pencil. Our grocery lists worked like Tetris. We said no to vacations because daycare is a second rent. We were okay. Not flashy. Just okay. The guilt came wrapped as concern. Lena deserves better, Mom would tell me on the phone. Do you ever think about that? A woman wants security. Nathan knows how to provide. I almost laughed. Does he? She'd huff. He will, if people stop dragging him down. There were little humiliations you can't take a picture of. At Thanksgiving, Mom placed the larger turkey leg on Nathan's plate, pushing the smaller toward mine. You don't need more, she said. At Christmas, Nathan's kids opened drones and bikes. Mia got a coloring book, ages 3+. She was 4. When I got a small promotion, title change, same pay, Dad said. Titles don't feed a family. When Nathan posted a photo of a borrowed watch, Dad reposted it with proud of my boy. Lena tried to keep the peace. She wore the smile you wear when you know the camera's on. In the car, she'd let out a breath, like she'd been holding it in her lungs for hours. We can skip the next one, she'd say. We can, I'd agree. And then Mom would call. It would mean a lot if you were here. And I'd say, we'll be there. The money asks started to bloom into entire plans I was supposed to fund. Picture this, Nathan said one night at my parents' table, chopping the air with his hand like a CEO. Family equity. We all put in, we all own it. Mark can handle the finances. Dad's name helps with lending. Mom runs front of house. Jess does social. We're unstoppable. Lena, ever practical, asked, what are the terms? Nathan blinked. Terms? You said equity. He leaned back. Wow, she's intense. Mom cut in, don't ruin this with details. Trust is the term. I said, what's the number? Nathan smiled, seed is small. Just 50. We can do 30 now, 20 later. Friendly paper. 50,000. Lena breathed. Relax, Mom said. It's not all from you two. You're not selfish. But when the group chat went up, family fund real. The only requests with dollar signs had my name under them. Aunt Cheryl was praying. Uncle Ray was networking. Coach Tim sent a flex emoji. Somewhere in there, I sent $750 just to show good faith. Then $1,250 bridge. Then $2,000 closing this week. FR the week never closed. I started waking up at 2:11 a.m., like my body had an alarm for dread. I'd stare at the ceiling, listing numbers in my head. Rent, daycare, groceries, gas. Mom's small ask for Nathan's kids' camp fees because summer brain is real. The spreadsheet total hit $23,980. 2 months before the party, Mia had a fever. We were at urgent care at 1 a.m. Lena was sleeping upright in the chair, Mia curled like a bean on my chest. My phone buzzed. Nathan, yo, can you do me a quick 400, literally stuck at pump. I put my phone face down. The next morning, Mom texted, when you're a parent, you'll understand. It's emergencies all day. I typed and deleted 3 different replies. I sent nothing. That night, Dad called. What happened to you? You used to be generous. He sighed into the speaker, wanting me to hear his disappointment. Don't change on us. I didn't say, I am changing on purpose. I didn't say, this isn't generosity, it's extraction. I just said, we'll be at the party. And then came the tag. Limited guest. The whiteboard. The whisper. The laugh. The way the room stretched around Nathan's needs and shrank around my child. If you've never stood in the family you were born into and watched them label your kid less, I hope you never do. I felt something shift. It wasn't anger. It was alignment. A bone finally clicking back where it was supposed to be. Mark, Lena said, her eyes meeting mine. I'm here, I told her. And for the first time in a long time, I believed myself. The party moved like parties do. Too bright in the kitchen, too loud in the living room. Too many hands reaching for the same plate. Jess, Nathan's wife, handed out glasses. Dad told the story about how Nathan sold a snow cone to a snowman at 6 years old. Everyone laughed, again. I watched Mia sit at the kids' table, an empty plate in front of her little hands folded. She's polite, even in rooms that don't earn it. When the food line finally opened, Mom stood guard like a bouncer. There were labels. Prime, Standard, Limited. Next to Limited was a small stack of napkins and 2 apple slices. Like a joke, Lena stepped forward. Her voice was quiet, but it cut through the room. She's 5, she said. She eats dinner. Mom smiled, but without teeth. Then she can have dinner at home. She is at home, Lena replied, her voice steady, like a ruler, asserting herself in her family's house. Dad's voice boomed from behind us. Don't make a scene. Nathan clinked a spoon against a glass. Before we grub, he announced, I want to say something. He walked to the whiteboard. We're at the cusp. We've got a verbal from a real angel investor. We just need to close the family round to show momentum. It's not even about the cash, it's the signal. We do this together. And when I ring that bell, we all eat. He tapped the marker on Family First, written 3 times. So we've got asks, but also gifts. This is community. Mom nodded like a parishioner in church. Dad crossed his arms. Jess filmed it all on her phone. Nathan looked right at me. Mark, you're the cornerstone. We talked about it. 30 today locks a better match. We'll paper it. Friendly terms. It's not a loan. It's love. I stared at him. 30 what? He laughed. 1,000, obviously. We can split it over the next 6 weeks. 10 today shows faith. Lena's eyebrows shot up. You said small seed. Mom put a hand on Lena's elbow. Men are talking. Something went very quiet in my head, like a winter morning where the air snaps. I looked at Mia, at her tag, at the 2 apple slices, at the whiteboard with arrows pointing to my name like a drain. I thought about those 2 11 a.m. dreads, about pediatric fevers, about the word limited sitting on my daughter's chest because someone decided she was allowed to be hungry in their house. I said, no. The room did that small wobble rooms do before a drop. Mom blinked. No what? No to the round. No to the cornerstoning. No to the friendly paper. No to all of this. Dad snorted. Grow up, Mark. Nathan smiled, like we were playing a game. You're kidding. I'm not, I said. Jess slowly lowered her phone. Wow. Mom's voice went cold. We have company. So do I said, nodding toward Lena and Mia. And she's hungry. I stepped to the table. I took a plate. I filled it. Chicken, rice, salad, a roll, 2 strawberries from the prime bowl, because I was done pretending berries obeyed a seating chart. I carried it to Mia. Her eyes widened. For me? For you? I said. All of it. Mom hissed. Those portions are planned. I looked at her, straight into her eyes. Then your plan failed. Dad's face flushed. You don't come into my house. And this isn't about your house. I cut him off. This is about my kid. Watch your tone, he snapped. I have been, I said. For 33 years. Nathan chuckled, leaning back. Bro, emotions aren't assets. We're building legacy. Don't embarrass yourself over a plate. Lena, calm and deliberate, took Mia's tag off and set it face down on the table. Her voice was clear, unwavering. Your legacy is written in how you treat people who can't push back yet. Silence. The kind that hurts your ears. Mom broke it. If you can't support your brother, then maybe this isn't the place for you. I nodded. I agree. Dad laughed once, a hard, humorless sound. You think you can shame us? You need us more than you admit. I shook my head. I needed you to be kind. You chose clever. Nathan leaned forward, elbows on his knees, all business. Here's what's going to happen. You'll cool down. You'll apologize for making a scene. You'll wire 10 by Monday, so we can make Tuesday's meeting hit. We'll put you on the cap table. You get to brag later. Everybody wins. Or you keep acting like a martyr, and you're out. He spread his hands wide. Your call. I looked at him. At my parents. At the whiteboard. And then at my little girl, happily chewing chicken, utterly oblivious to the tug-of-war happening over her head. And I felt it settle in me. Not dramatic. Just final. This isn't about revenge, I said, my voice steady in a way I almost didn't recognize. This is about closure. Mom scoffed. Closure? Don't be theatrical. It means I'm done playing a role you wrote for me, I said. I stood. I took Lena's hand. I picked up Mia's little backpack with the unicorn zipper. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam a door. I just walked to the entry table. I took a pen. On the back of Mia's limited guest tag, I wrote one word. No. Nathan's boys watched us like we were a show. One whispered, he's mad, in that delighted tone kids use. Dad took a step, like he might block the door. I waited. He didn't. We reached the porch. The sun had slipped behind the neighbor's roof. The yard smelled like charcoal and something overcooked. I could hear laughter starting again inside, forced and loud. Lena squeezed my hand. What now? I unlocked the car. Now we eat, I said, and then we draw lines. I didn't look back as we drove away. We stopped at a diner with cracked leather booths and a waitress who called everyone Han. Mia ate waffles with strawberries that belonged to no tier. Lena slid a plate toward me. You okay? I nodded, then shook my head. I am. And I'm not. She put her palm over my knuckles. Both can be true. My phone buzzed on the table, face down. It buzzed again. And again. 12 times in a minute. Then more. I turned it over. 27 messages. 14 missed calls. The group chat, family fund reel, lighting up like a slot machine. Mom, you embarrassed us. Dad, you made your mother cry. Jess, you ruined the vibe. Nathan, you'll regret this. Followed by, are you out of your mind? This is bigger than your feelings. Aunt Cheryl, praying. Coach Tim, flex emoji. Then, we good. Uncle Ray, don't burn bridges. You never know. Lena took a picture of Mia's syrup grin. You don't need to answer, she said. I know. I replied, though my thumb hovered, muscle memory wanting to explain itself. A new message. Nathan, again. Deadline is Tuesday. Wire 10K by noon or I erase you from the cap table and from my life. I read it twice. I laughed, but without humor. Erase me, I said softly, mostly to myself. Haven't you been trying? We went home. We gave Mia her bath. We read the bedtime book. She asked, why did Grandma call me limited? I swallowed hard. Because grown-ups forget their words are sharp, I said. You are not limited. You are my favorite everything. She nodded, like a scientist recording data. Okay, she said, and slid a sticker into my pocket. When she slept, I took the shoebox down from the closet, added the sticker, and opened my laptop. I pulled up the spreadsheet. I looked at every line, every memo, every just till. Friday, I remembered the times I'd transferred money from our grocery budget and pretended I hadn't. The nights Lena squeezed my hand in the dark and said, we'll be okay, even when okay was a cliff edge. Lena leaned on the doorframe. What are you doing? Cleaning, I said. Digitally. Everywhere. I opened my banking app. I created new sub-accounts. House, emergency, Mia, US. I changed 2 passwords. I turned on alerts. I scrolled to recurring transfers with names that weren't ours, and I canceled them, one by one. My hands shook, not with fear, but with a profound, quiet release. Dad called. I let it ring out. He called again. And again. 9 calls in 10 minutes. Then a voicemail. Then another. I didn't listen. I knew their script. I'd been acting it out for a decade. At 9:32 p.m., Mom texted, come early tomorrow. We'll talk it out. At 9:34, we're family. At 9:36, don't be dramatic. At 9:41, a photo of Nathan's whiteboard with family first circled and a caption, this is for you, too, if you stop being selfish. It's almost funny how people will weaponize a word like family until it means do what I want. At 10:05, Nathan, okay, real talk. Jess is freaking out. I told her you'll fix it. You always fix it. Send 5K tonight to show movement. I'll tell them you're good for the rest. Then, bro. Then, don't make me look stupid. Then, answer, Mark. Then, coward. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. The silence felt like new snow. Sunday morning, 7:12 a.m. Dad again. We were making pancakes. Mia was stirring, tongue out in concentration. The phone buzzed across the counter, Dad's name flashing like an alarm I'd set in childhood. I pressed decline. Who was that? Mia asked. A spam call, I said. It wasn't a lie. Sometimes the truth is about function, not label. By noon, the texts changed flavor. Threats dressed like logic. Dad, if you don't contribute, don't expect help when you need it. Mom, you'll regret pushing your family away. Nathan, I'll make sure everyone knows who killed this. Jess, people don't forget. By evening, they tried a new angle. Mom, Mia will miss out. Think about the children. I stared at that one until the screen dimmed. Monday, 43 missed calls, 31 texts, 2 emails with subject lines like final chance and family matters. A Venmo request from Nathan for $10,000 with a fire emoji. I clicked decline. He resent for $5,000. Decline. $2,500. Decline. $1,000. Decline. He messaged, petty. I thought of Dad's line. Real men don't keep score. The ledger in my head went quiet. At lunch, Lena sat across from me and slid a notebook into the middle of the table. A clean page. A pen. Okay, she said. What do we want our life to look like if we stop trying to pass their tests? I wrote, predictable mornings. She wrote, no 2:11 a.m. dread. I wrote, savings with our name on it. She wrote, holidays that don't end with a fight. We wrote for an hour. It looked small and plain and holy. Tuesday came. Noon passed. I did not wire. At 12:07 p.m., Nathan, you chose wrong. At 12:08, I'm done with you. At 12:09, a screenshot of the group chat where he wrote, Mark bailed. We proceed without dead weight. There were thumbs-up reactions from people who don't know our budget. Mom wrote, "He's going through something. He'll come around." Dad, "Not under my roof." Aunt Cheryl, praying. Coach Tim, flex emoji. I turned my phone off. I took a walk. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass and hot asphalt. My body felt heavier and lighter at once, like I'd set down a bag I forgot I was carrying, and now my shoulders didn't know what to do. Wednesday morning, Mom showed up at our apartment unannounced. That old key. I met her at the door before she could even step inside. "You changed," she said, without a hello. "I grew," I replied. "You've let your wife poison you against your own blood." Lena, from the kitchen, called out, "Good morning to you, too." Mom lowered her voice, trying to regain control. "Mark, be reasonable. Your brother needs you." "My daughter needed dinner," I said. "She got a name tag instead." Mom flinched. "That was logistics." "No," I said. "That was a message." She looked me up and down, like I'd physically shrunk. "We made you who you are." I shook my head. "You gave me a start." "I made me." She pressed her lips together. "Your father says if you won't apologize, don't bother coming on Sunday." "I won't," I said. To both. She stared past me into our tiny living room. The toys. The plants that kept trying. The visible, hard-earned life of a family that budgets. "You'll come around," she said finally, as if just saying it out loud could bend the future. "Maybe," I said, "but not back." She left. The key clicked. I leaned my forehead against the door for a long time, feeling the cool paint. Lena touched my back. "You did it," she whispered. "Did what?" "Chose us." The call slowed. The texts got colder, shorter, rarer. Then came silence. That dangerous period where people are either healing or plotting. 2 weeks later, I got a letter. Not from a lawyer, thank God, but from a bank. A late notice on an account with my name as co-signer. I'd forgotten about it. The car. 90 days delinquent. Immediate action required. My chest tightened. I called Nathan. He didn't answer. I called again. Nothing. I drove to my parents' house. I left Mia with Lena. I told myself I wasn't going to argue. I was going to untie a knot I tied at 22. Dad opened the door, eyebrows already raised in judgment. "I need the car paperwork," I said. He moved to close the door. "We're eating." I held it open with my palm. "I need it today." Inside, Nathan sat on the couch, eyes glued to his phone. He didn't even look up. "Hey," I said. He kept scrolling. "You dead to me, remember?" "Then release my name," I said, my voice dangerously calm. He laughed. "Do your worst." "Okay," I said. I pulled out my phone and called the bank, right there in their driveway. I explained everything. I asked for the steps. The woman on the phone was kind. She told me the options. None of them were free. I chose the one that hurt least long-term and most today. I paid the back amount. I removed myself. It was money I didn't want to spend, but more than that, it was a lock clicking. An ancient one. I texted Nathan the confirmation. "You're welcome," I wrote. He replied with a middle finger emoji. I stared at it and felt nothing. Not even anger. Just information. That night, we ate pasta with Jared sauce and garlic toast. It tasted like a feast. We watched a cartoon. Mia fell asleep on my chest. My phone sat face down and quiet. For the first time in years, I didn't dread the sound it might make. The house felt lighter. The future didn't feel like a trap. It felt like a hallway, with doors we could finally choose. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, walking away from my family. But it was also the most freeing. What about you? Have you ever had to choose between protecting yourself and your children and holding on to a relationship that was slowly poisoning you? What would you have done when your own family labeled your child limited? Tell me what you think. I really want to know.